Morning, friends. This is James chapter 1 verse 5 here. This question today is extremely difficult. As a matter of fact, I've been asked this many times. I'll answer the individual, but I was reluctant to make a video about this because of how sensitive a subject this is. But I really feel like if you read this verse, a lot of people are going to misinterpret the verse, and I want to make sure that you understand what God was trying to say and what the purpose is behind this verse. The question is, how can the Bible command a rape victim to marry their rapist? This comes from the verse Deuteronomy chapter 22 verses 28 through 29. If a man meets a virgin who is not betrothed and seizes her and lies with her, and they are found, then on to 29, then the man who lay with her shall give to the father of the young woman 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has violated her. He may not divorce her all of his days. Now, at first glance, that sounds like the rapist is getting by without a punishment. It sounds like God just doesn't care. But if you go 2, I think 3 verses behind that, it actually states in Deuteronomy 22:25, but if in the open country a man meets a young woman who is betrothed, and the man seizes her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. And keep in mind, that's death through stoning. It's a very slow, very painful death, because God knows how horrible a crime rape can be. Now, it's easy for us to look at this verse and say, look at it and put it in a modern text and say that doesn't make sense. But you got to look at it from the time period. You see, at that point, women weren't educated. They didn't have jobs. The only way that a woman could survive is they lived with their fathers until they were old enough to get married. Once they were old enough to get married, then it was up to their husbands to take care of them. But one of the main issues with that is, once you've lost your virginity, you are no longer considered acceptable to be married. God's forcing the rapist to take care of the rape victim. See, because it's also in Exodus it talks about, Exodus 22:16 through 17, if a man seduces a virgin who is not betrothed and lies with her, he shall give the bride price for her and make her his wife. Continued on Exodus 17, if her father utterly refuses to give her to him, he shall pay money equal to the bride price for virgins. See, what this is basically saying is that it is up to the father in the end to decide whether or not his daughter should have to marry a rapist, or if he can think of some other way to take care of his daughter financially, then he can say, you don't have to get married, but the rapist still has to pay as if you're going to marry the rape victim. See, now in that way, the woman is taken care of and she doesn't have to marry. But if there's no other alternative, then the man has to marry her and then has to take care of her. And it's not a perfect solution. There's no such thing as a perfect solution. If you think that anything can solve or fix a rape situation, I almost never say this, but you're wrong. Nothing can fix it. Nothing makes it all better. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have personal feelings about this subject and probably has more questions for me. If you do, that's fine. Send them James chapter 1 verse 5 at live.com. If you have questions about further or later shows, also send me an email. I appreciate everyone listening, and I hope I've shed some light on this, on a very difficult and very sensitive situation here. I apologize if I seem a little out of it. I've been up all night working. I haven't slept yet, so I'm a little out of it. So I appreciate you bearing with me. As always, God bless. See, in this time period, women were not educated. They didn't have jobs. The only way that a woman could survive, I never turned the light on. I had to start all over again. Awesome. The man that, then the man, I can never get through it in one take. If a man meets with a virgin, that's also not right. You know what? We'll do that part later. I gotta start all the way over from the very, very beginning. Oh, that's good times.